Hey everyone, welcome back for another lighting breakdown. The shot we're going to look at today is from a music video for the Last Revel band for their new song Engine Trouble. Let's do some quick tech specs to get that out of the way. We shot on the Arri Alexa Mini in 4x3 with the 50mm Lomo 2x Anamorphic. We shot at a T2.8, 800 ISO, and a white balance of 3200. Here's a short clip of the shot. Pretty simple. It was on a wooden camera shoulder rig, and I was just sitting on the ground to get the lower angle. From here on, I'm going to be using Cinema 4D to show you the lighting setup, but I'll be referencing back to this image. So, in the house we were shooting in, there were a few options for couches to use for this shot. The reason we landed on this one was because it already had some really nice light coming from the practicals on either side of the couch, and we could use those in the shot. The only problem we had was to keep the exposure good on the practical that was in the shot. To do this, we needed to bring in another light to be able to expose our talent. Here is the same shot, but now with that extra light in there. And here's the behind the scenes of that shot. So we had 3 lights in the scene, 2 of them practicals, this one here and this one here. And then we set up a 4-foot by 4-foot silk about the same height as the practical on the frame right, and then a Fiilex matrix light right behind that. This light was to mimic the practical over her shoulder, but to have more power to give us enough exposure. Here's a top view of the layout of the 2 practicals, the 4x4 and the Fiilex matrix. The matrix was a great fixture to have because of its color temp, hue, and brightness flexibility. We could really dial it in to match the practicals, and it took no time at all. From this top view, you can also see that we pulled the couch away from the wall just to give us a little separation from the talent to the background. This also helped remove any shadow of our talent on the wall that was being cast by our key light through the silk. And that's pretty much it for this setup. It was one of the easiest we had for the music video, and I really like how it came out. The last thing to really pull this shot together was a little bit of color grading. In Resolve, the first thing I did was to convert it from log C to 709, so I put the Arri 709 LUT, and then in the first node I did a little bit of exposure adjustments, bringing up the midtones and bringing down the highlights slightly. In this node I also made a slight curve. It was coming off a little too contrasty, so I wanted to flatten it back out a little bit, so I dropped the highlights and lifted the blacks. Next, I made a parallel mixer node, and in the first one, I pushed the offset towards the warmer colors to bring in that homey feel. I also brought up the saturation a tiny bit. After turning this correction on and off, it was coming on a little too strong, so I dropped the key down to about 0.5. In this parallel mixer node, there's 2 more adjustments that we're going to make. One for the skin tone, which we do by qualifying the skin tones and then adding a quick power window. There's a lot of similar tones, and I only wanted to get the skin. So I masked out both of the talent to just get their skin tones. Then using the vector scope and the offset wheel to make sure their skin lines up on the skin tone line. Lastly, I made one more node with a power window over both their faces and feathered it out and then brought up the midtones to bring some more focus to their faces. And then I also brought in some more contrast because when you bump up the midtones, it flattens out the image. This last node is just my false color to check and make sure I am where I want to be. If you want to learn more about that, I have another video coming out soon on how to read and analyze footage using false color. That's going to wrap it up for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Also, I have listed all of the gear that I've talked about in the comments below if you want to check any of that out. As always, happy shooting!